Facebook. Thank you for joining in, Facebook. We're getting ready to kick this show off.
Okay.
Episode 26 of the Anything New podcast.
Episode 26 of the Anything New podcast on YouTube.
On the YouTubes.
All right, Craig's in here. Let's see. Let's get a check on them audio levels. 1, 2, 1, 2.
1, 2, 1, 2.
Check.
You guys sound good.
Look good. Looks and sounds good.
All right, I'm ready when you guys are.
Oops. Yep, I'm good too. Opey, it's your...
Facebook, this is the Anything New podcast. If you're not, I guess if you are watching us live but want to catch us on Spotify, our podcast is on there. It's on the Apple Podcasts. And yeah, so you don't have to watch us live. You can stream us or download us and listen to us on the way to work or in your favorite easy chair.
Let's go. Okay, guys.
Ready when you are,
Okay.
Mr. Opie Lawson.
Quick pause. Welcome to the Anything New podcast. My name is Opie, and always I'm here with Pete
Hello, friends.
and Matt.
What's up?
Anything New is a podcast where we talk about anything new that we've done this week. We may be using, perusing, or consuming. Guys, had a pretty good week. We had a list of things to go over, list of things to talk about. We've been talking about some stuff ongoing for the past couple of episodes, but last week, our community watch, brought to you by Pete himself, was the movie on Amazon Prime called Mid-90s. Mid-90s was a movie that was shot, it was a, who produced it again?
It was written and directed by Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill. Crap,
Yeah.
I keep wanting to say Seth Rogen every time. I keep wanting to say the other one.
That's why Jonah Hill laughed.
So yeah,
Or my Seth Rogen laugh, sorry.
we'll jump right into it. Pete, it was your pitch to throw. Why don't you start off with us? Tell us a little bit about it.
Sure. Okay, so I didn't really know much about this movie. I knew, I kind of have a love-hate relationship with Jonah Hill. Like, some things I love him in, some things I don't. Like, Moneyball is one of my favorite movies of all time.
I've never seen that, but I want to.
It's a good movie.
Oh, we might have to add that. Like, there are scenes from Moneyball that I think are as good as acting and writing and everything could be. Like, it's a fantastic movie. And Jonah Hill's great in it. Then there's other movies where he's not. Anyway, so this was like his passion project. So he kind of got this together. He's a kid of the mid-90s, like we are, a little bit younger probably, but so this movie it's totally stylized like the mid-90s, like even down to like the way it's shot. Like, it's not even shot in widescreen. It's like 4:3.
Yeah. that irritated me.
I loved
It
it.
irritated me too.
I loved
It
it.
kind of had, so it's about a boy. Let me see, what was his name?
Sonny. Was it?
Well, that's his name. Well, that's the thing. Like, so they gave him a nickname early on in the movie, and couldn't really remember what.
Oh,
it
the
was.
actor's name.
Sunburn.
Yeah, the actor's real name is Sonny. That's what it was.
Yeah, but they gave
Which
him
I
a
thought
nickname Sunburn. So he's basically this kid who has a really troubled home life. There's no dad in the situation. The older brother's abusive. The mom, she's trying her best to hold things together, not doing a very good job. This kid's like 13 years old, and he's like self-harming too, which I found, that was very disturbing because they really showed some intimate scenes of self-harm, which I wasn't okay with.
Well, you know what though? Didn't they only you're talking about the kid, right?
Yeah.
They only showed him doing it once, like when he was like hitting himself.
No. They showed him take his mom's hairbrush and like really ground into his leg.
Yeah. I was wondering what that was about.
They showed him take a Super Nintendo controller cable and wrap around his neck and like try and strangle himself.
Well, I remember that, but I thought that's just because he was real. Never mind. I got you. Go on.
So the kid's got some bad issues, Poor kid. He comes across these guys at a skate shop, and they're not the best influential kids that you'd want around your children. And that's mainly the problem that I had with the movie was that I was watching this movie through the eyes of a father.
Yep.
Oh, sure.
And
We'll
not
get there.
watching,
Trust me. Yeah.
not watching this movie through the eyes of a kid reliving his youth.
Yep.
So my youth on the surface looked a lot like this, but really was nowhere near any of this.
No.
So I had a hard time with just the narrative and like really like they had the boy got into way over his head way too fast. He's gets introduced to these kids that are skateboarders, and before you know it, he's drinking, doing drugs, girls. I mean, the whole 9 yards. And this kid's, 13, 14 years old. It's really awkward in some situations.
Yep.
It wasn't a bad movie, but I feel like, this was a movie that Jonah Hill made. And Jonah Hill doesn't have children. So it's kind of like maybe him, this is the mid-90s that he saw. He probably grew up in Los Angeles. So this was a lot closer to like what he probably saw. But being us, like Midwest kids, like we had the skateboard stuff, go to the skate shop and like trying to learn how to skateboard and like, looking at Thrasher magazines and stuff like that. But that's pretty much where it ended for me. Like I wasn't around anything as hardcore as like what these kids were put up to, but yeah, so that's pretty much the movie. Like it's him and his struggles. He meets up with these kids. They introduce him to all this bad stuff. The mom tries to intervene a couple times to no avail. And then at the end, there's almost a catastrophic ending, but he kind of evades death with like some drunk driving situation. But yeah, I mean, it was an okay movie. I'm not mad I watched it, but I just didn't, it hit a little too close to home for me having a kid who's like this kid's age.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
What do you guys think?
Yeah. I'll jump in, Matt, and just, I have two, like I have a daughter, your son's age, James. And then I have, a son just a couple of years older than that. But, I kind of went into this movie hoping it was a real period piece. And for me, it kind of started off like that. I wanted to see all the stuff that we grew up with. Like, you can see behind me, I grew up, I try to collect all that stuff and try to relive a lot of that stuff that's nostalgic towards us. And in the beginning, when he was kind of sneaking in his brother's room and kind of going through, you saw all the posters and all the Jordans, and he had the
music, the CDs, and all that stuff.
And then he had the tapes, Stretch and Bobbito show that was a hip hop show. That there's actually a really good Netflix documentary about Stretch and Bobbito. They're two DJs in New York, and they had this hip hop show from it came on at like 2 a.m. or something crazy, and stayed on till like dawn or whatever. But they had all these like Wu-Tang Clan and Notorious B.I.G. and Eminem. They would all come up before they were stars and be on this show, and it got real viral before there was a viral to get, before viral was big. But it was kind of funny to see all that he was recording those episodes, because that's what people did. Even Busta Rhymes talks about recording that show and selling the tapes at school because it was such a good radio show. It was just on the radio. But yeah, and then but his his brother was kind of a white kid into hip hop there in the mid 90s. I think a little bit I went through that a little bit, where I was listening to more hip hop and being in rural Tennessee growing up in high school, where you couldn't hear anything on the radio but country music. And then you're right, it kind with the Nintendos and you kind of the way they were living, it kind of got dark, and it kind of he kind of got into it really quick, and I was kind of shocked by that as well. I was like, I was wanting this movie to be about nostalgic stuff, that I'm going to be, oh, look at that, or remember, there's he's got a Tony Hawk deck, or there's a McGill, and they're putting together all this stuff. But the skate shop really wasn't showing anything that I saw from the skate stuff that I know. That was kind of made up. But I kind of looked at it also like, I come from a divorced household, and like I lived with my dad most of my high school career and middle school career, most of my years. And, you know, the late 80s and early 90s, I mean, it was becoming more and more the norm where you would see single parent households. Now, we really don't know. It doesn't say what happened to his dad, but, you know, I've seen a lot of like him being frustrated with that. And I think his brother was just really ticked off at his mom, I guess, because his dad was gone. He was just taking a lot of it out on him as well. And you kind of saw that as well. And when he ran into his friends out on the street, that he wasn't going to do anything. And
Yeah.
I could tell his brother loved him because they were brothers because of the whole hospital scene and stuff. But it's still, he still didn't show it very well. And that was kind of rough to see. But yeah, I was watching this while I was online with Matt, and we were kind of chatting about it, and I was telling him kind of a little bit of feedback without giving away any spoilers of kind of what I thought about it. But you guys were right about it being shot a different way, and it totally took me back to the 90s movie Kids that was so controversial.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was one of the influences in the trivia for IMDb. It said that was one of the influences on Jonah Hill.
Yeah.
For how he made this.
But you know, I thought it was pretty good. I mean, it had its messages, but you're right. It was, I mean, you know, having children and just thinking about, you know, where there was no internet back then or whatever, and him just staying out all hours of the night or whatever, and his mom she didn't come off as like just a loser mom or a deadbeat mom. She looked like she was pretty active, but it was maybe she just didn't have time to watch him as much or time to give him the attention. Yeah. And there was a line in there is like, she was like, well, we don't talk like we used to. We don't do things like we used to. And there was Blockbuster night that he was afraid he missed.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, but I did not enjoy it as much as I thought I was going to enjoy it. I'm with you guys. It started off kind of, like I said, nostalgic, and I was kind of into it a little bit, and I was kind of watching it pretty hard. And then I'm like, once it kind of got past that, I'm like, holy crap, this is kind of rough, you know, for me. But yeah. Anyway, but yeah, that's me, Matt.
Well, I'm glad to hear you guys say that, because I thought you guys were going to love this movie, and I was going to be the guy that once again says, yeah, it's definitely a movie that you could watch if you chose to. I thought it was okay, but just like you, Opie, I thought this was going to be a movie about the 90s.
Yeah.
And not necessarily, you know, everything that we loved in the 90s, but it was, you know, it wasn't my 90s. I grew up in the 90s, just like you guys did. I was a teenager in the 90s. Jonah Hill, I'm pretty sure this was sort of based on his experience growing up in the 90s. He was born in 83. I was born in 79, so he's like 4 years younger than me. Mm-hmm. But still, you know, roughly the same age. Mm-hmm. And this is not the 90s that I experienced. Although, you know, I was in, you know, small town Tennessee. He was in LA, so obviously they're going to be different. But you know, and I remember, you know, sort of being into the skate scene for a little bit in the 90s. I could skate about as well as the kid could, meaning not very well. I could stand on the board and ride it. You know, I couldn't really do any tricks.
Oh, yes.
But I was into that, getting all the Thrasher magazines and, you know, watching all the skate tapes and all that stuff. Like, I was into that for a little while. And then, but that still just wasn't the 90s that I experienced. And, you know, I always think about movies like this where, like, if kids today, you know, some 16-year-old kid watched this today, they would say, gosh, you know, the 90s were rough. Well, no, they weren't. You know, this isn't an accurate representation of all the 90s. This is just one interpretation. But, you know, I didn't like any of the kids except Ray. Like, he seemed like a pretty cool dude. You know, he seemed like he was just, you know, trying to have fun, but also wanted to make a better life for himself. He seemed all right. But all the other kids, I didn't like them. I think the scene where the mom, like, drags Sunburn into the skate shop and said, you gave my kid alcohol, you stay away. You know, you stay away from my kid. I think, you know, the intent is to, well, I don't know what the intent was, but, like, if I were a kid watching that, I would be like, man, that mom is so mean. But as a dad, I'm like, I would do the same thing. I would drag him in. I would threaten his friends with bodily harm, and I would forbid him to ever, you know, and then they get back in the car and Sunburn starts yelling at his mom. He, like, gets up in her face, shut up, shut up, shut up. I would have beat my kid 6 ways from Sunday if he had did that. So like I'm just like you guys. I watched this from the perspective of a parent, and I would have done everything that she did. I didn't like the kids he was hanging out with. Except like I said, except Ray, he seemed like he had a good head on his shoulders.
Right.
I'll tell you what, one thing that I kind of felt uncomfortable with was the love scene.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Both from not necessarily from, I know that you're supposed to be immersed in this world, and she's 16 and he's 12, so whatever. I mean, sure, I get, I 13. Okay, if she's 16
that
and
makes
he's
a big difference,
right? Well, but that took me out because the whole time I was thinking, wait a minute, that kid really is a kid, and I looked it up on IMDb. The girl, she's almost 30.
Oh wow!
And the kid is literally, I think, like now he's like 15 maybe. So when this was made, he was like 13, and that just I don't quite. Well, I understand that they were trying to tell a story.
The way they shot it, though, like if you actually think about it, like the worst thing that actually happened was, she was standing in front of him in her underwear. They didn't really show anything.
Well, they're like making out and stuff too.
Well, it was completely almost dark. Like it could have been. It could have been stunt lips.
it wasn't enough to make me like turn it off or start spouting Bible quotes or whatever. But it did make me feel uncomfortable a little bit.
For sure.
What I don't, I thought I didn't like the kid more and more going through the movie. Started drinking and smoking, and he just wanted to be cool, and that's that stuff. That doesn't make you cool. And I wish somebody had smacked him and said you don't have to do this stuff to be cool. And
well, that's the whole problem with the thing. It's like dad's not around, right?
Yeah,
brother's a complete total.
Brother was awful. He was terrible.
Now flip the script. The brother would have been like, "Hey, come in here. Let me show you this new album I got. Let's listen to this CD together."
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
His brother would have been like, my older brother's so cool. Like this is what's cool. Like I don't have to go out and find these kids. You know what I mean?
Yes. And I don't want
his older brother had a responsibility, look after his little brother, and he didn't do it.
And going back to what Matt said about her going into the skate shop and yelling at the kids, listen, I don't want to talk about this being a parenting podcast or anything like that, but I've got children, and children, kids, no matter what you put in front of them or how you teach them, they've got minds of their own, and they like things that they like, and you're not going to be able to change their mind sometimes. And a lot of times you can take that two ways. You can avoid or ignore that your kid's not in trouble or doing things that they shouldn't be doing and be naive, or you could maybe involve yourself in their life and get to know, even if the kids that they hang out with maybe aren't the best kids in the world, maybe she could have done a better job in like inviting them over or getting to know them. Or if that's what you're going to do, you're out here trying to do kick flips in the driveway and skating. Bring your friends over and let's hang out here. Let's have a barbecue or whatever. And okay, they're not the best kids in the world, but maybe they need a little, someplace to go too. I mean, you can look at it two ways. I mean, and I'm not saying that they wouldn't be if I've invited a bunch of kids, because Pete, you posted on your Snapchat, your boy he had a big hangout at your all's house, and it's a great way to get to know the kids that your children are hanging out with,
Yeah.
And you can look.
You want to know what my 14-year-old's birthday party consisted of? We did a double elimination NBA 2K tournament there was 8 boys. Took about 2.5 hours. I went and bought them a $25 Visa debit card for the winner.
Oh wow!
We made a big bracket, double elimination, and they had a complete blast. And I'm lucky, just like you guys. We got great kids, man. Yeah. Like our kids are awesome. And the little boys that my kid hangs around with, they're just like him. They're just like little. Any kid that age, going through what they're going through can be stubborn and sometimes,
Yeah.
but they're good kids. But that's But so my kids, nothing like what I saw.
Yeah, and then
but not to say that it can't happen.
Exactly.
You
Oh,
gotta
sure
stay
can.
on them. You gotta keep your head on a swivel.
Yep.
You can't let up for 1 minute, or before you know it, they'll be out smoking the drugs and
But just go ahead.
all that stuff.
Well, I was going to say one last thing that I'll say about it is I don't understand how. So at the end, they literally, they're in a car wreck because the other kid that's driving is completely drunk. And as a result, he gets them all into a car wreck.
Yep.
The young kid winds up in the hospital. And at the end, all the other friends come in and hang out with him. How was the kid driving not in jail?
Right.
And how was the mom not out there screaming in his face, "You nearly killed my child"? Like, I just didn't understand that. I thought that was not a realistic ending as far as,
Yeah, that was kind of weird too. I didn't know how that was.
How are you not in jail? Where are the cops? All this stuff,
There was one little bit that I thought probably got left out that they didn't really delve into. Might have got left on the cutting room floor. Do you remember the scene where remember, Sunburn, he's the youngest, but then there was a kid who was just slightly older who was kind of teaching him the ways, but was like not very nice.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Well, do you remember the scene where they dropped him off at his house?
Mm-hmm.
And it was at like some sort of like little projects type place. But he went up the stairs like he was going home, but instead, like when they drove past, he ran back down the stairs and went down the street.
Yeah.
And Sunburn kind of turned around and looked at him,
Yeah.
So I felt like there was something there that they probably...
Well, they sort of touched on that. Ray told Sunburn later in the movie that kid's mom beats him and his sister all the time, and that's why he never wants to go home. So he probably
wants to go home after she's asleep is what they said.
Oh yeah,
because he was telling him, "You think your life's bad? Everybody else has it, as hard or harder than you've got it." But
well, then it wasn't left on the cutting room floor. It was left on my cutting room floor.
But so it was I don't know if it tugged on your heartstrings or not, but it was kind of an eye opener. It wasn't what we were expecting, I guess, all of us in the movie. Right. But if you want to check it out, it's mid 90s. It's a Jonah Hill film. It was filmed in 2018, and tell us what you think, or get on the Discord and we'll discuss it a little bit more. So moving on, guys, our weekly chat for this new hot series on Disney Plus, WandaVision. I know me.
Wait! What? You gotta. What's your?
Holy crap! I totally missed it. Nothing. We're not going to do anything this week after I teased it before. So, guys, for this week, and I talked to you about this off the air, we're going to do a series, okay? This is a brand new series that popped up on Netflix, okay? And one of the things that kind of really made me want to kind of lean towards this is Pete has been watching, Pete's son and his friends have been watching a little anime lately. Ooh, so we may dive into a little anime this week.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah,
what have they been watching?
Attack on Titan, and they've been playing. Did you see the snaps I sent you, Opie?
Yeah, I saw the new
on Xbox,
the Naruto game.
They're into this Naruto battle royale kind of game.
Okay,
it's on Xbox. But yeah, that's pretty cool.
So trending on Netflix, and this just dropped, and actually it came out, and maybe it's just trending now. Is an anime called Demon Slayer, and I want to say, what are you laughing at, Matt? Have you seen it?
I've seen some of it, yeah.
Oh no, okay.
But it's been a long time.
Is it?
I'll rewatch it.
Did you see it before it was on Netflix?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's been around.
Yeah, I watched it a while back on Funimation.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, it popped up on Netflix, and I thought it looked really cool. We'll watch the first, what do you say, guys? 4 episodes?
4, yeah, let's do 4.
4 episodes. They're 23 minutes apiece. And we'll talk about it next week. But yeah, it's on Netflix. It's called Demon Slayer. I don't want to say what's the Japanese Kimetsu no Yaiba? Yeah.
It's just Demon Slayer. Everybody knows. Everybody over here knows it is Demon Slayer. My son has watched the whole thing or all the first season and just flips out over it. He loves it. and I won't say whether I liked it or not. I won't spoil it, but I will rewatch it because it has been a long time since I've seen it.
I thought it was new, but
it might be due to Netflix, but it's not new to America.
Okay,
that's a good pick.
It looks pretty good.
I approve of this pick.
Okay, you can watch it and see if Peyton likes it. Moving on.
Yeah, for sure.
Moving on. Now we can talk about WandaVision. Yay!
Yeah.
Pete is so excited.
So episode 4 just released a couple days ago on Wednesday. So, I said, hey guys, all right, put it out on Discord and whatever, Instagram. Hey guys, be sure to watch, episode 4 of WandaVision for the podcast on Sunday. And Pete said he got through about half of the 3rd episode and just couldn't do it anymore. Well, let me just put this out there for you. So we won't spoil anything. Well, let me say this about episode 4.
Peyton likes it.
Episode 4 features almost zero Wanda and Vision, and almost none of it takes place inside of the sitcoms that we've been watching.
Okay.
If that tickles your interest a little bit. So we start to get some answers. For every answer that we get about 2 more questions. We do. I don't know, Opie. What did you did this reel you in a little bit more?
Oh, absolutely.
On the WandaVision train.
You mean they're talking about the latest episode?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. Yeah. 4, yeah. It was kind of what I mean, Matt. It's what you explained to us. It's going to be that storyline, not if it's not that arc exactly. But that's what it is. Are we going to talk about it? Or are we going to let Pete watch it? Well,
I don't want to spoil anything. I want Pete to go into episode 4.
I can take my earbuds off for a sec. You guys can just go.
Nah.
Just go.
That's all right.
It's all right. It's all right.
Sure, I don't
But
care.
no, we can kind of talk in code. We can kind of talk in code. But it's kind of what you talked about, and if James remembers what you talked about, the whole arc as far as the comics go, that's kind of what it's evolving to be, and it's opened up. It's kind of what you thought it was, where the first 3 episodes just kind of show what was going on. Now there is some quirky stuff that I didn't really, how they were picking up the signal and that whole meme and everything about, and how she came in. And that is the same character from Thor, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
She's the same scientist.
She is the worst part of the first 2 Thor movies.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that she wasn't in Thor Ragnarok or any of the other movies.
Yeah.
And I don't know. She seems like she's a little bit better now, but I couldn't stand her in either of the first 2 Thor movies.
So you get introduced. Now this is not really a spoiler, but because you mentioned it, you get introduced to Sword. Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
And Sword hadn't been mentioned up until that part, but a lot of moguls that are not comic book people probably hadn't been introduced to Sword in the Disney Marvel universe, have we?
Yeah, this is their first. Yeah, so you guys this is your first taste of Sword, which is a sister organization of Shield, similar but different. They monitor different things. Shield is more of a U.S. like defensive, like spy espionage organization, whereas Sword in the comics is more. It's like Shield is for the U.S. Sword is that for space. But in this one, they explain that it started as that, but they have shifted their focus to AI, nanotech, that kind of stuff. So whereas, and they explained at the beginning of the episode, they were focused on the stars, but they have changed their focus into more technological threats. Is how they explained it in the show.
Yeah. So
we do get an introduction into that organization. We meet some more of the players. We meet some of the folks that work for that organization. Some other. We meet Jimmy Woo, who we saw him in the second Ant-Man movie.
Yeah.
Pete, you didn't like the first Ant-Man? I'm assuming you didn't see the second movie, right?
No, we watched Ant-Man 2 at Dan's house last year. Remember?
We did. I wasn't there last year.
2 years ago.
Yeah, maybe was it 2? Yeah. Okay.
You were there last year?
No, I didn't go last year because of Yeah, you're right. I was there last year. I didn't
on,
go
bro.
to your place in the summer.
Just because we played Fortnite for
That's
10
right. I
hours
remember that.
Didn't we watch Ant-Man 2 that day?
It may have been at your place in the summer that I didn't go to. No?
Yeah, you didn't come to my place in the
didn't.
summer, but we watched Ant-Man 2 at Dan's on his couch.
Okay. Well, so Jimmy Woo, he was in that movie. He shows up again in this. He's a character from like the 50s and 60s. First premiered in the 50s, and Marvel brought him in the 60s. But we get a little bit more introduction into Geraldine. You know, so the character. Well, shoot, you didn't even see what happened to her in episode 3. We get a lot more information on her.
She's from Mad Men, right?
I don't know.
African American chick?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's really good. She was in Mad Men.
Was she?
Okay.
Yeah,
Man,
she was. I as soon as I saw her, I recognized her. She was like she kind of came in when it kind of got into like the 60s.
Okay.
You know, they kind of like they broke down
she
the
was
barrier.
a secretary. She started off as a secretary.
Yeah. And like towards the last few seasons, they had like
I've seen Mad Men.
African Americans who had kind of broken into like corporate world, showing that whole thing, and she was really good in that.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah, so her character. This isn't a spoiler. I mean, I don't. You know, it's not a secret, but her character. You know, Gerald. She calls herself Geraldine in the sitcom world. In the real world, her name is Monica Rambeau, or they call her Rambo. I always thought it was pronounced Rambeau in the comics, but she is the daughter of Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel's friend, Maria Rambeau from the Captain Marvel movie.
Oh,
because the Captain Marvel movie took place in 1995. Monica was a young girl, but now we're in what is ostensibly 2023, and she's grown up. So we get more information about her. We get more information about her mother, who we saw in the Captain Marvel movie. I'm excited for her character to be in the MCU because she was Captain Marvel in the comics for a good while, and she's been known other aliases in the comics too. So it'd be cool to see her do that at some point.
When does episode 5 come out?
Every Friday.
Friday?
They come out every Friday. Yeah.
Friday. Gotcha.
There's only 9 episodes, so this was a good. I was actually kind of surprised that they revealed as much as they did in this episode, but I guess it sort of makes sense because we're at the halfway point, and I feel like they need to leave at least one episode or two because I'm telling you that the S is going to hit the fan. I think the last couple episodes, so I guess they had to go ahead and start revealing stuff now to give room for all the big stuff that's going to happen. So yeah, I guess we won't talk about it too much because I don't want to spoil anything. But it was very, very good. The ball is rolling. I mean, the roller coaster has finished going up the hill, and it is finally going over the hill, and now it's starting that fast descent down. So it's just going to get crazier from here on out.
It was a long climb.
Let me tell you, I don't know if it was us or some of us had a discussion about the Avengers movies and Endgame, and when they snapped everybody back into existence. Mm-hmm. You guys remember that, and what the world would have been like if people were in like mid-flight in a plane or whatever. Yeah. You see a little bit of that in the first of this episode, James. Yeah. It's kind of crazy. Oh wow. Yeah, so it kind of touches on that.
So this is all where they've been during the snap. Is that what all this is?
No. But there's a little something that happens in the beginning with that character.
I feel like I should have done a little research because I don't even know who Wanda and Vision are. I don't even know what their powers are. I don't know like what they do. I don't know.
You saw them in the Avengers movies, right?
They were like third rate, like they weren't even just. I know what Spider-Man does and Thor and all those guys. Like, who's Wanda? What is she doing out there? And Vision he was out there for just long enough to get the stone snapped out of his head. Like I don't know what his powers are.
That's why I asked Matt about stuff like that.
From what you've seen, but Vision has actually been in like 4 or 5 movies, and Wanda has been in. So Wanda first showed up in Avengers: Age of Ultron, and then she was in Captain America: Civil War.
I think I saw that, didn't I?
I don't think you did.
I don't think I did. I don't think I saw that one.
There's 23 Marvel movies. I think you've seen 4 of them. That's true. But Vision was in Age of Ultron. That's where he first showed up. He was also in Captain America: Civil War.
So what is Vision? Is he an android?
He's a robot.
Yes.
Complete
Yeah.
100% robot. I
Right.
mean, if a piece of gum almost takes him out, come on, how tough can this guy
Well,
be?
that was silly sitcom stuff. But yeah, he's an android. He had the Mind Stone, the Infinity Stone, in his head until
Yeah.
Thanos ripped it out.
So that yellow thing that he's got on now, is that not the stone?
Well, I mean,
Well, you
there's
don't
a
know.
lot of
I mean,
there's a lot of questions
there's a lot of
around Vision right
questions.
now.
A lot of questions.
And something there we get a little bit of a
Yeah.
revelation, or maybe it's a head scratcher about what exactly Vision is in the sitcom. We get that in episode 4 of WandaVision. They show him in a certain way.
I'm getting there. I thought you'd be proud of me.
I'm not really. I mean, it's. I just, you got to trust me. It's gonna open up.
Well, let me ask you this: do you think that they did, for this to be like the first big Marvel Universe series on Disney Plus, right? Isn't that what this is?
It's the first one.
Would you say that they did the series justice by starting it out so slow and quirky?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, you think that this, with all like the negative reviews and press and people saying it's hard to get through the first, 25% of the series, I feel like they should have done a little bit better. That's all I'm saying.
I think it's wonderful. I think by the time you get to the whole 9-episode thing, it's going to be bananas.
I hope you're right.
Here's the thing. Marvel is so successful at this by now. They've released 23 wildly successful movies.
Yeah.
They deserve to do. They at this point they can do whatever they want. So they can make a weird little show about why are these two Avengers in a sitcom? They have earned the right to do that. If DC came out and put Aquaman in a 50 sitcom, they didn't earn that yet. But
I understand the quirkiness of the first couple of episodes in the whole 60s TV, but like, again, I'm a mogul. Well, I mean, a little bit more than a mogul, as far as a mogul, or however you say it, Harry Potter, mogul, whatever.
Mogul is Jay-Z. Muggle are humans from Harry Potter.
When it comes to comics, I'm a little bit more than that. But like if you watch The Mandalorian, which like you can put The Mandalorian as you have the Star Wars universe, and The Mandalorian is a deep dive into a storyline that relates and weaves in and out of the Star Wars universe. But if you take someone that's never seen The Mandalorian, they could say, well, who's this Mandalorian guy? I mean, he wasn't even in any of the movies. He wasn't in any of the movies.
Who's that weird little green pointy-eared alien?
I remember.
Why is he a big deal?
Is he not? Yeah, it's kind of like that. But no, I understand what you're saying. You could probably if it wasn't the story arc that Matt discussed earlier, it makes. I've not read the comics that the story arc Matt talked about with what Wanda is doing. I don't know in the comics if she made it TV shows like a sitcom. I don't know how.
No, this story is its own thing.
Yeah.
But they are using elements of the storyline called House of M, where she rewrote reality to fit her liking.
Yeah.
And I don't know in the MCU.
Not in the MCU. They were in the comics.
Okay.
But anyway, your argument is the first 3 episodes. You could tell me their backstory in different ways than putting them into the Brady Bunch, an episode of the Brady Bunch, or Leave It to Beaver. That's your whole argument with it.
My argument?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there was no backstory. I still don't know what the heck's going on.
Right. Well,
who these people are, what their powers are. I know that Vision is obviously some sort of robotic synth creature, but I don't know to what extent.
You're right.
Like, I don't know what Wanda's powers are. I don't even remember what her powers were in Avengers. I don't remember what she did. I think did she take time back when Vision got something? Did she do something with time back then?
No, that was Thanos. He had to remember. Thanos wound back time. Wanda destroyed the Mind Stone that was in Vision's head. so
Okay.
that Thanos couldn't have it. But then Thanos had the time stone. So he turned back time by about 10 seconds, knocked her out, and then ripped the Mind Stone out of his head.
Right. So she just has some sort of like telekinetic powers kind of thing.
So
like, I know she can move plates and stuff. So that's the extent of her ability.
One thing I'll say is that the MCU hasn't done the best job explaining her powers, and her powers, even in the comics, are a little bit strange. Like, I don't really understand. She has like these hex powers, where in the comics they are like reality warping powers. In the movies, they've just made it look more like telekinesis, which yes, but she can do more than that. And I don't feel like the MCU's done a super great job exploring that, except for maybe like Age of Ultron. But after Age of Ultron, they just made it to where, oh, look, she can move her hands around and move stuff. And that's not an accurate representation of what she can do.
Well, maybe by this time next week, I might be like, hey, man, this is awesome. Let's go. Like, this should have been episode 1 and 2 right here, you know? Never know. We'll see. I'm giving my best. I think you should be proud of me.
That's awesome. You'll like it.
Yeah, you'll like it. You'll get there.
All right, Pete. Well, since you're the big dog on campus, did you play a video game you want to tell us about this week?
I did. So, you know, I'm big into the video game emulation. And I had, you know, after I watched mid-90s, I kind of went back. And this game is a little bit dated before mid-90s, but it really had me a hankering to bust out the board and hit the half pipe and play some Skate or Die.
I used to love Skate or Die.
Man, I tell you what, like, it is so. If you remember TNC Surf Design,
it's so hard.
That was horrible compared to Skate or Die. Really gave you some sense of being able to, like, when you would go up the half pipe and like you could do the little flips and stuff and go in the pool, and you would do the pool tricks. Like,
Skate or Die 2 was so good. The half pipe on Skate or Die 2 was just unbelievable as well.
So I played Skate or Die, just sitting at my computer, pulled it up through my emulator, and played it with my Xbox Series X controller, which is really weird. You know, you're just using 2 buttons like from the NES, you know, so it doesn't really matter. And the D-pad. But man, it was just like I played it for probably like 2 hours one night while I was trying to get on a Rust server that wasn't visible. We won't talk about that though. So I played Skate or Die. It's incredible, and if you remember, it was from this little tidbits on it. I didn't realize how few copies they actually sold, because from what I'm reading on Wikipedia, they only sold 100,000 copies
of Skate or Die.
Yeah, which that just seems. But Skate or Die 2 sold a lot more. But Skate or Die 1, and listen to this: Skate or Die. After its release on the NES, they actually released it on the Commodore 64.
Word.
Wow.
So then I went on YouTube. I was like, I got to see what gameplay footage looks like of Skate or Die on a Commodore 64. And it looked pretty close to Nintendo.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what the hardware specs are between the two.
It's pretty close.
But it must be, because it looked pretty good. But
going back to your 100,000 copies sold, but back then, wasn't that a lot?
I don't know. I don't remember. I'm not sure.
I never even knew back then. I didn't care about that kind of stuff. I just
but just now, if you were to say 100,000 copies, that would be like some indie title. You know what I mean? Like that was like on Steam only. So, that's just. I just wanted to throw that out there. You know, I'll watch movies, or I'll kind of see something that'll make me think of an older game, and then now with emulation. And if anybody's interested in emulation, it really is super simple. And the computers that people have now, you can run anything up, up to probably like Nintendo 64, PlayStation 1 with no problem. So if you have any questions about that, get on our Discord. We'll help you out with that. It kind of walks that gray line of like, legality, but
well, you were playing an emulated copy of your own copy of Skate or Die 2 that you backed up. That's what you were doing. Yeah.
Right. That's what we say. Is that these are all backups of physical copies that we own.
Well, that's right. Well, only 100,000 copies. That's not terribly rare, because on price charting, it's only $6.15 if you have a copy of Skate or Die for the NES. So it's not astronomically rare, according to
that's totally worth $6.
It is.
Talking about... going back to mid-90s and talking about skating and Skate or Die stuff, I meant to start off with saying, well, mid 90s was okay, but it wasn't Gleaming the Cube.
Whoa.
You know,
Easy.
you guys see Gleaming the Cube?
I love
Absolutely.
Gleaming the Cube. I loved
We
it.
made so much fun of Gleaming the Cube, especially when he built the board at the end with the
Without the grip
diamond
tape,
plate
yeah.
duct tape or
Oh
duct
yeah,
tape. Grip tape, yeah, and all that. We were making Christian Slater, and they were just so those really wide wheels they put on it because he was going to have to go, really fast at the end or
And
whatever.
you could just tell it wasn't him. Like in all those stunt scenes, and
Especially-
stuff.
Was it Mike McGill? Didn't he do?
Was it Mike McGill?
I think so.
Well, the freestyle one where his board completely changed. They go into that one freestyle one where he does freestyle, which was popular in the early '90s a little bit, and you can tell it wasn't even his board or whatever. We were always me and my friends, we were always just so crazy about the guy's bedroom was in that septic tank, in that old septic tank.
Yeah.
That was the best. Yeah, and then you
yeah.
could go down in there, and it wasn't in the house. That was so awesome. I was I wish I had a bedroom like that or whatever.
Yeah, I used to think about that. Man, if I had that, I would just be on that little quarter pipe all the time, just back and forth, man, just skating, bro.
Yeah,
I wanted that. Well, let me ask you this: excuse me, Gleaming the Cube or Rad with?
I don't think
Josh
I've ever
Brolin.
seen Rad.
well, I mean, it's no question to me because it's rad because that's one of the greatest motion pictures ever created.
No, I'm sorry. No, not Rad. Thrashing.
Oh
Thrashing.
no,
Yeah.
yeah,
Thrashing. That's the one with Josh Brolin. That's what I'm thinking of.
no, rad is incredible.
But that's not a skateboarding movie, so that's not a fair comparison.
BMX movie.
What about
Yeah.
Rad or BMX Bandits?
Well, I don't
I-
think I've
I
seen
like
Rad.
them
I love BMX Bandits. I saw it when I was in Australia when I was a kid because it was an Australian movie.
It was.
And Nicole Kidman's first movie, and I saw it when I was in Australia in like what was it 86 I think, and I thought it was awesome. I was like, oh man, this movie's so good. I want to get a bike and ride it.
Yeah, it was good,
'Cause,
but it's no comparison to Rad. Rad, Rad's just one of those movies that, like, when I think back to my childhood, man, like we would just sit around and watch it and then go ride our bikes.
Yeah.
We talked about this, like with Paperboy. Like I was before we bought a skateboard. I was probably like 13 or 14 when I bought a skateboard. First I had like the Veriflex from like the dollar store.
Oh,
It was
that
like
was so. Yeah.
Like you'd bow it, like standing on it. It was just like so janky. Then got money together, like birthday and stuff, and got my Mike McGill board, which I still have.
I can't believe you still have that board.
With my slime ball wheels and GNS trucks.
I had
But,
tracker and rat bones.
We rode BMX, man. We rode those bikes all the time, and it was awesome. So yeah, Rad is incredible. It's rad, totally rad.
Cool. So James, did you play a demo too that you want to talk about?
Well, I didn't play the demo, but I want to talk about it. And I asked Matt to play it, but he was a lazy bones this week and didn't
I forgot.
play
You
it.
didn't ask me to play it. What was it on?
Well, you can't play it because it's on PS5 only.
Oh, gotcha.
So I don't have a PlayStation 5. I'm not a 1%er. Like that's probably
How's your Xbox Series X doing? How's your two Xbox Series X's doing? Are they fun?
I only have one.
Oh, I thought you got two of them.
I did. I scalped one, but I never told you.
Whoa.
Golly.
Drama.
You think you know a guy?
Drama.
So
Flipping Xboxes, not watching WandaVision. Come on, man.
So
Who even are you?
I wanted Matt to play Resident Evil Village, and this was a really cool thing that they did, where they released a demo, but it's more of like they wanted to release a next gen showcase. So there's no actual fighting, like you don't shoot anybody. Goes back to first person perspective for Resident Evil, which I think is awesome. It's way spookier to play scary games in first person than it is third person.
Sure.
So it's called Resident Evil Village, and it's coming out end of March, I think. So they released this showcase, and you just pretty much go around, and it really shows off the next gen graphics. So since Matt has a PS5, I wanted him to check it out. But I watched like a few reaction videos on like gamers online that I kind of trust, like their opinions on and stuff like that. And like they all say like this is the first real next gen that we're getting ready to see. You know, like some of these like new games that are coming out later on, like the Biomutants game looks incredible. Like that game looks
Wait, which
just
game?
Biomutant.
Oh yes. Oh yeah, I want to play that. I'm really excited for that.
Incredible. So, and this does too. So, like, just the textures and the lighting, like this doesn't look like a game that was for like the Xbox One and PS4, and then they just kind of like made it also for the new gen. You know, this looks like. So anyway, I watched that, and if you're into any kind of like spooky horror games, check that out. It's Resident Evil Village. You can Google it and watch some YouTube videos on it. It's going to be coming out later on, and it looks really good. That's pretty much all I wanted to say about it.
Okay.
Yeah, I meant to. I remember we talked about it. I meant to check it out, but I kind of forgot about it. But haven't played any of the Resident Evil games since like the first one, I think. I'd like to. I have the remaster of 1 and like 0, I think, on the Xbox One X. And I always wanted to get the remake of 2 and 3 and play through those and play 7. I just never.
Yeah. The funny thing was on this, and I don't know if it's going to stay like this, but Resident Evil 4 is widely considered one of the best ones out of all of them. Like it sold a poop ton of copies. It was like on the I guess it would have been like the PlayStation 3. I guess I'm not sure exactly which generation that was. I played it on PC back in the day, but what they did on this one is that they popped up the inventory screen, and it was an exact duplicate of the inventory system of Resident Evil 4, which everybody loved. Like you could really like take your guns and like add attachments, and they had this really cool little menu system. So I don't know if it was just like an Easter egg where they just threw that in there to show people and like kind of get them hyped up for it, but it had like a Resident Evil 4 kind of inventory and crafting system. So if they keep that, that'd be awesome too.
Yeah. No, I'm not opposed. I'm not saying that I'm opposed to them. I just haven't played them, and I just didn't know if I would get much out of 8, because I think 8 picks up right at the end of 7 or something like that, and I think I'd rather play 7 before 8. I don't know. I just
Yeah. Cool.
Again, hold on a sec.
All right.
What you got, Coach?
Moving on. Well, guys, it's been in a kind of a whirlwind week for me as far as like, my team, which everybody knows that I'm a huge college football fan, and my team's the Tennessee Volunteers. And I thought I'd update all our millions of listeners who follow us and that really care about college football at the time. But the University of Tennessee, we hired a new football coach this week, Josh Heupel. Josh Heupel was the former coach at the University of Central Florida Knights, and we hired an athletic director too, and the athletic director came from Central Florida. And after searching and being denied and being declined all over the United States, he circled back around and hired the guy that he hired at his former place. So anyway, a little bit about Heupel, and Pete knows a little bit about Heupel too, because Cincinnati and UCF play all the time. He's an air raid high offensive coach, and Matt, I know you don't follow Tennessee as much as I do, but you do watch the games from time to time. We're going to score a lot more points going forward. We're not going to score less than 24 points in a game. We may not be able to stop many people, but it's going to be one of those kind of video game offenses that he's going to run. So we hit the ground running, and he's in place, and he's trying to get his coaching staff together. But if Lou or anybody like that is watching, hopefully the future is a little bit more brighter in my world come this fall.
Well, he is obviously a good recruiter, because he was getting guys to UCF. And I think that's such a smart decision to bring in an athletic director and a coach combo.
Yeah.
Because so many times you'll hear about a school getting hitting a home run with a coach, and they'll bring the coach in, but then the athletic director, for some reason, they butt heads.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
You always hear that.
Yep.
Just that the coach will stick around for a couple years and he'll be gone, and then they'll always say, well, the athletic department and the coach didn't have the same direction for the team,
Right.
something like that. You know that these guys are going to be on the same direction. They've already done it once,
Right.
like they
That's
have whatever the formula that they have works
Yeah.
because UCF, who were they before these guys got there? You know what I mean?
exactly. And Danny White is the athletic director. He started off, he's got some ties to his father is the athletic director at Duke right now. His whole family is college football. His brother is the head coach at Florida basketball, is their coach. I can't remember his first name. But he's a white, and he was the athletic director at Buffalo, changed their program around with a couple of great hires for coaches, went to UCF, made the guy that's at Nebraska now,
yeah, I know you're talking about, but I can't remember.
Scott Frost hire. And they went undefeated that year in 2018, and they claimed a national championship that year. You remember? He kind of made it public with some of his comments and kind of wanted to share the national championship because they got left out of the playoff being undefeated that year. And so the University of Tennessee is kind of in a dark place where they've got some investigation. The last coach we had just totally screwed us over, and our athletic director kind of let it happen, and we've had to fire everybody, and we're kind of at rock bottom. So we had to go hire a young kind of rock star AD. And after the kind of shock, the sticker shock of hiring like not a name that we were expecting, because the fans at UT are so rabid, and we kind of have got a kind of a reputation of being kind of a Twitter mob. After the whole social media and how we've got over it, and you kind of analyze the hire, seems like a good hire. He's going to bring his entire offensive staff from UCF up too.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome for Cincinnati, I guess. Hopefully that'll knock them back a couple of years.
Yeah, we beat them this year pretty handily, so it was good.
Pretty handily. They had you on the ropes. That was your toughest game. Was that your
team?
Well,
yeah, that was probably our toughest game. They're a good team
in a COVID
for sure.
Game. Yeah.
I want to say something since we're on this subject of football. This whole Matthew Stafford trade.
Oh wow.
So this was a big deal for a couple reasons. You got 2 number 1 picks being traded for each other, and plus Jared Goff.
Jared Goff
is a 2-time Pro Bowler. It was just in the Super Bowl.
Mm.
And then, so 2 years removed from the Super Bowl, 2 years removed from Pro Bowl. Now he's being traded. The Rams give up 2 first-round picks, Jared Goff, and a second-round pick for Matthew Stafford, who's like 37 years old. So this is my question: if that's what Matthew Stafford gets, right? 2 first-round picks, a former Pro Bowler, and a second-round pick. What's Deshaun Watson going to get? They're going to probably have for like 5 first-round picks, and
I think just a whole bunch of Dogecoin or something. I mean, he's going to
Dogecoin from 5 days ago, not Dogecoin today. But I just thought that was you don't see that every day, a big trade like that, and it was amazing. I'm excited to see what Matthew Stafford can do with some actual talent around him instead of being stuck in Detroit.
Yep.
But here's what I'm guessing. This is just me thinking out loud. I'm thinking the Lions, they probably won't even keep Goff. I think that they'll probably be a team that'll need a quarterback, and they'll probably package Goff off for maybe like a couple second-round picks or something like that. You know what I mean? So then the Lions are just stockpiling picks. They'll have 5 or 6 picks in the first 2 rounds for like the next 2 or 3 years, probably. So that's just kind of what I think. Then they might draft a quarterback.
Do you guys ever think about? I think about this sometimes, especially when talking about trades and stuff. You ever think that football, well, the NFL specifically, because of all the trades and stuff, you ever think that the NFL really isn't the NFL? It's just 32 old rich dudes playing chess.
What's a business?
And they just use the players as the pieces. You know,
it's a business.
That's what I think about that sometimes. I'm like, it's not, it's not this team versus that team. It's this owner versus that owner, and he's going to trade out. It's like when we would play Hero Clicks. We would just trade out little characters to beat each other, and that's all football is.
It is. It's players. and moving the pieces around the board.
Yeah.
And last thing we need to say about sports is I feel bad for those Kentucky Wildcat basketball fans.
Oh,
Not really, but I just wanted to say that.
well, the Tennessee beat Kansas.
Oh man, they look good, dude.
Did you watch it all?
Not all of it, but that who is that? Like the white guy that starts for him? Is he like what is he like Yugoslavian? What is his nationality?
John Fulkerson?
Is he American?
Are
What
you
is
talking about? No. You're talking about
He's got, like,
Vescovi,
dyed hair.
Cianto. You know, yeah. He's from Uruguay. He's from
Okay.
Uruguay. Yeah, he's Uruguayan.
Yeah, you wouldn't think that guy is from Uruguay. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
Santiago Vescovi.
He's when they say his name, they always butcher it like
Yeah,
on TV.
Santiago Vescovi. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. But we do have a Yugoslavian 7-footer on the bench, though.
Oh, nice.
So that's I was like,
We
didn't
could
start.
use one of those.
He didn't start. Anyway, and we have a guy from Yves Pons is from France. He lit it up the other night. But anyway, we're diverse, and they're all left-handed too. We can start 5 left-handers on the team.
Ton of lefty.
Yeah. So moving on, guys. We'll close it out. Either of you guys got any pickups this week at all? Not really.
Nope.
I've got a few. So I'll go ahead and dive right into it. So first of all, midweek, and this is not for me. This is for our buddy Level Cap TV, Dan. I kind of gave him a little wink, but I found his Scarlet, his vintage Scarlet.
See, that looks so much better than I don't know what it is about the snake eyes, but it just doesn't look good. But that Scarlet looks good. The snake eyes just look all skinny.
Now Henry's the one that collects GI Joes, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so there's Henry's watching. So there you go. I found Scarlet at Walmart this week. Matt, for you and I already showed you.
Yeah,
We picked up the Skeletor and the flocked. This is the Masters of the Universe Mega Construct Skeletor with that's the flocked Panther.
I'm flocking ready for that, man.
And I got that for you here. This I already told Matt about too, and I've been talking about this. Now I don't have any ties to this line, but I follow it and I want to be in it. But I bought the McFarlane. This is Warhammer 40K. This is the Space Marine soldier, and I just saw this, and I just really love this. I'm a fan of StarCraft, and I follow a bunch of Instagrams that where the guys paint these miniatures, and I've dabbled into looking at Warhammer stuff. And Pete, you knew the guy down here that does the whole Warhammer, plays Warhammer, and I just really like this figure. I want to get this out of the box and stand it up. It looks really cool, but Walmart only had one of them, and I kept seeing it. You
should paint him like the miniatures.
Yeah. Or I was going to start with this would be a good model, like if you wanted to start painting miniatures to know kind of what to paint on there, but you can paint them however you want to. Now, here's some stuff I picked up yesterday, and I haven't even showed anybody about this, but Matt, let's go ahead and just stay in line. Hold on just a second. I spent some days you don't have any pickups. I think I went 2 weeks without having any pickups, and then it all kind of hit. Matt, I found the Skeletors,
You son of a
at Walmart, my Walmart up here, not the one in Somerset. But I went ahead and took the box. These were the only 2 left, and there's one missing, so there's 3 of these. One's got Trapjaw, one's got He-Man, one's got Fisto in it, and I've got all the He-Man and the. So this is this one glows.
What are those? What
they're just little. They're inside. They're little miniature sets.
They're like blind packs, and you open them up, and there's different.
Well, there's not blind packs. You know what you're getting in these.
Oh,
yeah,
correct.
You know what you're getting in these. Let me show you on the
Wait,
side.
has Trapjaw been released before? In any other set?
I don't know. Because this will focus.
How's that? Does a glow in the dark one look spooky at night?
It kind of does.
I bet.
But that's
They did a good job with the facial features.
And I really lucked out. I never get to see these, and I never get to buy them. But so Lucasfilms is hitting 50 years. Have you guys noticed any of that circling around the toy world or whatever? So they're re-releasing some figures, and I've picked up this line. I was able to pick up
Whoa, you love Han Solo.
Yeah, he's my favorite, probably one of my favorite figures. This is the 50th anniversary Lucasfilms Hoth Han Solo. And,
Binocular case with him.
Yep. And I got the Luke Hoth as well.
I bet he stinks.
He probably does because he's been inside a Tauntaun. That's one thing I've not seen re-released since the vintage line is the Tauntaun. You can the belly opens up in. But this series there's a wave, and you can see on the back they've got kind of a timeline on the movies or whatever for Lucasfilms. But this same series there is a Commander Cody, which is the clone trooper commander that's orange and white. There's Thrawn, and I think there's one more that go with this wave. But I've seen these all over Instagram, and they hit Walmart, and I was like really shocked. I was having kind of a bad day. It was Sunday, and my mom had COVID, and she was sick, and she had a prescription. So we have 2 Krogers here in town, and they had messed up the subscription, and I was like driving in between Krogers and having to wait in line, and I was kind of frustrated. And I got to finally the Kroger that had the prescription, and they ended up going to. It would be 30 minutes before they had it ready, so I was like, I'll just go over to Walmart and walk around, and I found toys, so I was kind of happy. That made me.
I don't think that Trapjaw has been released
in any of the mini. I don't think it has any either.
That's crazy.
And it's not. It's in. And this is first appearance Trapjaw, too. Let me show you real quick. First appearance Trapjaw is this green. He's a lime green, and he's only in the comics.
Yeah.
If this will focus. You actually bought that miniature for me, right? Remember the miniature that you bought in Crossville?
Oh yeah.
It's first appearance Trapjaw, the one, the same green one. Normal Trapjaw is like a. Isn't there a Trapjaw with Castle Grayskull?
I don't think so.
Your
I've
Mega
got
Bloks
it right here, and it's only got 6 figures, and they're all not a Trapjaw.
Yeah, I think that's the first release of him, and he's gone. I didn't get him, so hopefully those will come. Those will come to my Walmart, and I'll pick up one, or I'll pick up you a couple. But if you would ever get out and go to Target or Walmart every once in a while, maybe you would find.
Dude,
something.
They don't have these at Target. I've never once seen any of these things at Target ever.
These just
but
came out.
I've barely ever seen toys at my Target. Period. So you got to go every day. That's what they say.
Pete, you want to hit us up on the social medias if we don't have anything else?
Sure, absolutely. Hey guys, we're on the Twitters at anythingnewcast. You can follow us on Instagram. That's where all the kids hang out. Anything New Podcast. We like to show a little recap of stuff that we've maybe talked about on there. So join us on Instagram, Anything New Podcast. Drop us a line at our Gmail, anythingnewpodcast@gmail.com. YouTube. Are we still streaming? We're still streaming on YouTube, right?
Oh yeah,
we're there right now.
We're there.
So if you aren't watching us on Facebook, but you still want to see our beautiful faces, you can follow us on YouTube. It's the bit.ly link is bit.ly/anythingnewYT. That's for YouTube. And our favorite place is Discord. Bit.ly link is anything new Discord #1. And that's where we really like to hang out, and we kind of interact the most on Discord. And if you don't know what Discord is, it's kind of like a Facebook Messenger type thing where there's like you can create little rooms and go on there, and you got your little account and you chat and you post pictures and just interact with people. It's a good way to have Discord with people. Get it?
Uh-huh.
But that's all I got. All right, guys. Well, until next time, make sure you watch Demon Slayer, and we'll talk about it next week, and we can all kind of converse on if we liked it or going to keep watching it or not. But it's something new I thought we would like, and if there's nothing else, we'll call it a night. Thanks everybody for watching and listening.
Yep, thanks guys. See ya.
See ya. All right, Craig is clear. Thank you for